What is going on, travelers, and welcome to another Man's Sky walkthrough. I'm going to take you from point A to point B through the Artemis storyline, making sure you get everything that you need to get you to end game, as well as show you around the game itself, showing you some tips and tricks on how to get money, not to mention showing you the luxurious worlds that No Man's Sky has to offer. So, first up, before we even start playing, we're going to go ahead and go straight into play. I'm going to go straight to new game. Once you go to new game, it's going to give you a few options to choose from. You have normal, relaxed, custom gameplay, creative, survival, and the newest expedition that's only running for 5 weeks if you're lucky enough to catch it. Now, normal mode is pretty much your infinite journey. You're just going to go ahead and start the game as normal. That means you have resources that you need to collect to build things, not to mention upgrade your ship. Relaxed mode is more of the lines of no combat, you just traveling the universe as relaxed as possible. You don't have to worry about fuel, you don't have to worry about building resources. All you need to do is just pretty much get the No Man's Sky experience. Custom is what you want it to be in terms of either you having a gentle playthrough or more along the lines of permadeath and survival. You play it any way you want. You can do that by go ahead and setting up the difficulties in the difficulty menu. I'll show you that later on down the line. Then you have survival, which pretty much explains itself. You have much limited resources to carry the normal mode, which is, I think, about 500. Go ahead and correct me on that down in the comments. But in the expedition, on the other hand, which you can have an easier start rather than going through normal or some of the other modes within this game, where Hello Games kind of walks you through all the latest features of the new update. You can get all the upgrades, some of your slots that I'll explain later on for your inventory will be filled, and it kind of gets you to, it's like a nice little gift package they give you right out of the expedition, not to mention some of the prizes that are offered. So we're going to go ahead and start with normal mode. This walkthrough will guide you the whole way. It's not necessarily going to be edited. It's going to be more in the terms of a let's play that you can go ahead and follow and reference if you're ever lost in the game. I've had numerous players tell me that they've had issues with some of the missions in game, so this is to help you walk through those problems.
Commencing Atlas system suit initialization. Life support systems activated. Shield kinetic system online. Aerial propulsion jetpack online.
I think we're on a toxic planet.
Multi-tool and mining laser attachment operational. User initialization sequence complete.
Awesome. So, first things first, you'll notice that we have a little bar on the
protection falling.
the computer keeps talking. We have those bars over there. The one on the top is your hazard protection. The one on the bottom is your life support. And we have a little guidance alert here that's going to tell you to look for your scanner. You can do that by pressing tab if you're on mouse and keyboard. And you'll notice that there's a scanner for your multi-tool. It takes you right there within this tutorial. You'll click it, and then you'll notice that you do need 75 ferrite dust. So we're going to go ahead and start collecting that. But how do we collect it? We're looking for minerals that are on the ground. Also, if you want to go into first-person mode because you don't like third-person, go ahead and go to your quick menu, which is X on the mouse and keyboard. Go to your utilities, and you'll go over here. It says toggle camera view. Boom, first person. There we go. Now, we need to find some minerals on the ground. We can't scan for anything, so what you look for is rocks. Or you're going to be looking for this thing here, which is going to give us oxygen. As you read it right there, hazardous flora. Any hazardous flora that you come across and mine, that's what we just did, will give you oxygen, as well as these little red things right here. Most of this is universal. You'll definitely end up on a different planet than I am right now, but everything's fundamentally the same. You're going to want ferrite dust, oxygen, which is what we just got, and these little blue things here, which is called dihydrogen. And for those of you who don't necessarily want the tutorial experience, you just want to get in your ship and go, because we're in the phase right now of preparing our ship. If you just want to go through that, or if you want to go through this, then stay for the tutorial. If not, go ahead and jump to the next episode where we'll be taking off in the repaired ship into the stars. We need as much of this as possible. So when you're running through here and your hazard protection still holding on, make sure you go to your inventory menu. In your exosuit, which is, these are your technology slots here, whatever's available to you, and you see that little install technology right there. You're going to want to install it. We don't have the oxygen yet, but we're going to need about 60 in order to get it. This will give you 10% more towards your oxygen, and we're going to talk about the adjustment bonus here in a moment as soon as I get oxygen. Alright, awesome. Go back to your exosuit. Install that. And you notice that the technology is installed, but it also shares blue squares. Those blue squares are called adjacency bonuses. This gives you an additional buff to whatever technology that you have towards it. This is C class, on the other hand, so this is probably pretty low, and our life support tanks get 10% more oxygen, so that'll help us survive a little bit more in terms of life support. Now, we just need to go ahead and collect some ferrite dust. So how, on a system that we don't know, to find ferrite dust, we'll just kind of look around at this point. And we just found an unidentified mineral, ferrite dust. Go ahead and collect that. So 75 ferrite dust and 100 carbon. So how do we find carbon? We need to find carbon by using plants, trees, whatever we can use. So how much do we have in terms of ferrite dust? We're at 21. We need to do all this so we can repair our scanner. Once we get our scanner, we'll be able to find our ship here in a few. And when we do scan for things, we'll be able to get money from it. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get what we need. Also, you can find things like food, like this jade peas. Go ahead and take it. Food is going to start giving you buffs that I will, again, later on in the series, tell you about once we get the thing called an ingester. As you can tell, these food types, let me go ahead and go back and show you what it is. These food types give you 5% life support power. So find these food items near you in order to get that 5%. It does help when you're in a bind where you don't have life support gel, as I'm recommending that over just getting the raw resource itself, which is pretty much just oxygen to use. You're going to want life support, which is this thing here that you're going to make. Hold on, I need to go to the exosuit. We're looking for this. We're going to be making this later on. We have the carbon for it. We just need the dihydrogen jelly, which comes out of the dehydrogen that's over here. And we want ion batteries, so we need to find a cave here pretty soon. So collect as much as you can before that meter on the bottom left starts to run out. We are on a toxic planet, so we do need to make sure our hazard protection is nice and full. Yeah, collect as much carbon as possible. I did say 1,000. We're going to go ahead and go with the first 500 and collect some along the way. If you are on an Earth-like planet, then more than likely you can take your time getting that carbon because you don't have to worry about your hazard protection. And that's depleted, and this is also the reason why you need to collect carbon. Get that mining beam consistently going. You can still keep collecting to your heart's content. For our collection of that here, we got... We're at 373, doing pretty good. You're going to be collecting a lot of resources during your first time playing through because you're going to need to make specific things like electricity, solar panels, portals, things for your ship, portable miners, just to get you started, and it'll get a lot easier later on down the line. Let's see, just keep it coming. Also, pro tip for those of you who are using a multi-tool when you're mining, if you do have an experimental one like I do, you're going to wait for that little bar in the upper right over there to go to about yellow, where it gets a little bit stronger, but you don't want it to overheat. You're going to kind of back off from it a little bit, keep it going, back off from it a little bit. That way you can blow right through these plants a little bit faster than you could before. You'll notice the numbers will start to turn yellow, and that's about the time you should watch that meter. Just let it ride. Yeah, I think we have enough carbon for the moment. We should be at... Oh, we're almost at 1,000 actually. Let's keep it pumping. We go ahead and find the rest of our ferrite dust, and we'll be able to move on. All right, 890. Okay, we're not there yet. Looks like we need to hit up some more trees. Now, be sure to make sure there's no robots around the sentinels, because some are high priority systems. Not high priority systems. What am I trying to say? Sometimes they're a little aggressive, and it depends on the planet on how aggressive they are. The minute you even sneeze, they'll be on you. But sometimes they'll be in a pretty reasonable planet, and they won't bug you as much. Alright, all that's collected. How many are we at now? We got our 1,000. When you're in normal mode, we can collect to about 9,999 in terms of resources before it goes into the next slot. Over here, we got sodium. We're going to go ahead and collect that. And we'll collect some food as well, some heptoid meat we can use now or later on. Let's go ahead and get this. Yeah, collect as much of this as possible. We want as much life support gel as we can get. Alright, now let's go ahead and look for that ferrite dust. Now, in order for you to go a little further in your jetpack, just like I did, you're going to hit the melee button, which on mouse and keyboard is Q. And hitting your jetpack at the same time, which is spacebar. Once you do that, you're able to fly a little bit further. Real quick versus the way I've been usually doing it, which is... You'll notice I can't really go anywhere when I do that, but when I do the melee hit, I can go a little further and get a little bit of distance. Man, it's really scarce here, isn't it? To be able to find the same thing we found last time for ferrite dust, just keep... Oh, there it is right there. Just keep looking around for it. There's also minerals on the ground that also say these things. There's one right there too. Keep an eye out to memorize these things. When you'll be able to scan it, you'll be able to see it in the catalog on what it is on this planet, so you can always know what it is. I believe we have what we need for this. Go ahead and get our scanner. Awesome. So now that you've done this in your multi-tool, go ahead and start scanning. We just have to recharge hazard protection. And we can do that by making batteries, which we don't have yet, but it's going to want us to use that sodium that's already there. Hold off on it for the moment, because we are at 10%. You can actually dig into the ground, or you can find a cave nearby to restore your hazard protection. We can do that. That'll give us a nice scan. Those little yellow things right there are sodium. Go ahead and pick those up. Oh, we'll get some more ferrite dust in a minute. Let's go ahead and focus on our hazard protection. And there is a cave right there. Sometimes they are pretty close by. Or if you're heading towards your ship. Oh, what am I going that way for? I need to get this. But be careful when you come down here into the caves. So now you notice that it's stabilizing. Let's go ahead and collect that. Sometimes there'll be these little blob things that are down here that do spew out poisonous gas. Make sure when you go into the cave, look for those first, and then take those out. They have oxygen and they have sodium, depending on what it is. So our hazard protection is now filled. It's still toxic outside, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and get the cobalt. Now, in terms of scanning, if you're on mouse and keyboard, because we went ahead and started scanning, we got our automated distress signal detected for our ship, which happens to be in that direction pretty close by. So we were heading the right direction to begin with, which is great. So, with these, on the other hand, before we start collecting more cobalt, we need to install an analysis visor to go ahead and get the most benefit out of scanning this, because it'll give us another resource other than just the cobalt. So go to your multi-tool set and go for your analysis visor. You'll notice that it needs one carbon nanotube. So we'll go ahead and select it. And because you already have that 1,000 carbon, go ahead and make that 1 carbon nanotube. You can do this by selecting the inventory slot here, click it, and then carbon nanotube. Done. Go back to your multi-tool selection here. Go back to the analysis visor. Go ahead and install. And now our analysis visor is installed. We can go ahead and start scanning. Like I said, press F, and then oh, there we go. If you see that unidentified plant or unidentified mineral, you'll go ahead and scan that. I'm trying to look for the cobalt just to give you a good example. Right there. Oh, that's another plant. Let's go ahead and scan the plants first. Awesome. Now, why doesn't the cobalt do that? There we go. We got cobalt, and then for the second, we get the hydrogen out of it as well. Just a small amount, not necessarily anything too big. Oh, wait. And just make sure you're clicking on it. Sometimes something can be scanned, and then that's not going to necessarily get all the minerals in the cave. Just to make sure that's just another thing of plant life. It's not doing the thing. It's like it's getting in between it or something. There we go. There's the cobalt. Don't have to worry about that. We got enough carbon to recharge. Make sure you pick some up along the way. After we have a certain amount of carbon, we'll go ahead and start making our hazard protection batteries. I kind of can't. Oh, right there. Oh, that's platinum dihydrogen. I didn't need that. We don't need this. If you do get a bit of platinum, you can necessarily sell it if you want to, but I don't think it's needed at this moment. We can go ahead and get rid of that. If we have enough cobalt with the batteries, on the other hand, it's about 10. So with the amount of ferrite dust we have, we can make about... I want to say we can make about 10. We got 7. 8. Yeah, we're just about 8. So we need to collect some more ferrite dust, but usually I want you guys to have at least 10. Go and get at least 10. And then for the life support gel, go ahead and go back to the same menu again. Start making life support jelly. We can make about 5. Oh, we only have enough for 3, unfortunately. And start making these life support gels. The reason why we're making these now is because this and this will fill up your life support and your hazard protection 100%. We won't be relying on oxygen unless it's like an emergency. We won't be relying on anything else like sodium for our hazard protection unless it's an emergency. But we are using these materials to make these items so we can survive getting to our ship. Oh yeah, I can't bend. So now that we got what we needed, take a little bit more cobalt with us. Go ahead and grab that. Make sure to leave the cave. Alright, we're out. We do need ferrite dust. Let's go ahead and make it to the ship first. As I'm taking ferrite dust with me. Don't worry about the animals. They're not usually that hostile unless you see a little red thing, like a little red circle with a paw. That means it's a predator, which it will come after you. Be picking this stuff up now. Actually need a little bit more for the build missing components. What are we missing? Oh, the jelly, that's right. We got 1. There we go. We got 1 more. This and that. And I don't think I saw a cluster in there. Usually sometimes they'll come in clusters, so you can go ahead and unlock those. Ooh, we almost went over. That was nice and quick. Ow. Didn't see any any hazardous flora, but I'll go ahead and take that. Keep on moving towards the ship. Plenty of resources around for us to collect later. Kind of hustle over there. You'll notice the jetpack will deplete. You can refill it super quick if you run. But make sure you pay attention on the bottom left to your life support as oxygen runs out pretty fast when you do that. If you don't necessarily have the right hazard protection up to snuff, go ahead and hop into your ship, go through this little bit of the storyline here, and then your hazard protection will fill up completely. So you can do this in caves, and you can do this in your ship as well to get out of storms or any hazardous areas that you happen to be in if you don't have the right protection. So I will be going through this a little bit. I'll leave it a little bit on screen so that way you kind of see what's going on. I'll mostly be selecting specific things. You can select anything that you want, actually. Should be the same outcome. And repair the systems. We are going to want to do that. Our protocols initiated, and we get our pulse engine. So we're going to be making a hermetic seal and metal plating. Hop out of the ship. When I say you can repair in your ship or out, it's up to you. We do need metal plating. Metal plating, it's about 50 Fahrenheit dust. We only have 23. So this would be a good time to go around and start collecting. Fahrenheit dust, we're going to have about maybe 1,000. I say maybe 1,000. Just find whatever you can in your area. We did pass a lot of them over here, so we'll be doing a lot of collecting. Just getting that hermetic seal.
Toxic protection fully.
Go ahead and collect this. Go ahead and collect this. Now what we can do is what we did last time in the cave. You can go ahead and start scanning these things and you'll get money out of it. So we just got our 200 units. I think we collected more. So we're about 1,000 or 1,400 in terms of units, which is going to be your currency to buy items in No Man's Sky. You can buy them from pilots. You can buy things from the store. As long as you have money, you can buy everything you need, even a new ship. But we'll talk more about that when we get to that phase of the walkthrough. Oop, almost hit the tip there. I noticed the beams start to get yellow too, so be sure not to go all the way through like we said earlier. Or else the beam goes down and you can't use your multi-tool due to it overheating. Is there any one of these I didn't scan yet? And when you do scan everything on the planet, you do get a nice nanite bonus. Nanites are these little bits of currency over here. You use that to buy upgrades for your ship, for your exosuit, for your exocrafts, and for your freighter. We'll talk more about those later on as well. We just want to go ahead and burn through all of this. Go ahead and collect that. Awesome. How much ferrite dust are we collecting so far? We're at 268, which is enough to go ahead and make that metal plating if we wanted to. We just need the one for that, since we need a hermetic. It was a repair for this. We need a hermetic seal for that. And we also need pure ferrite dust into hydrogen jelly. And majority of the materials, done. That takes care of that, and that takes care of the pure ferrite. On the other hand, we're going to need to, I don't even think we have, oh, we do have the plans for it. We do have the one metal plating and the oxygen. We can go ahead and build our portable refiner, do that, and then collect it. It's going to give it back to you and fit in your inventory, so we can take it out by pressing the build menu, which is Z. We go over to it, select it. You notice that it changed from before where it said we needed 30 oxygen and 1 metal plating. Now it just says portable refiner because it's in our inventory. We go ahead and select it and we're ready to deploy it. Right then and there. We're going to be doing this over by the ship instead of over here, but we want to take care of it. We want to carry this on our person. That way we have everything that we need. You see 0 carbon being collected because every time you collect your portable refiner, you get that carbon back. So we keep collecting ferrite dust until we have the right amount that we need. Just go ahead and start collecting these resources, leaving this place dry, so to speak. Just collecting until you reach that 1,000. You'll get to that 1,000 quick as long as you have the resources around you. Now you're probably asking, well, those resources aren't around me. What should I do until then? Use what little resources you have. Progress you to get the things that you need in order for you to repair your ship. Trust me, once these things go, they go. They don't necessarily disappear. You just need to look for them again. You can do that again by pressing your scanner using C, looking for all the highlights. Blue H's are dihydrogen, O2 is oxygen, Na is sodium, and I believe those are all the resources that are around us that we need. You'll be able to find it, and also if you wanted to mark it on your menu, go ahead and use the scan button. Oh, I guess you can't do that with that. Nope, no, you can't because it disappears. You can't highlight it. We'll talk about highlighting a location later. Whoop. So, go to your quick menu. Once you go to your quick menu, you'll go to where the battery is at in the middle. Press up. Then you'll go to mining beam. And then you'll hit carbon. And that refills your multi-tool for its mining beam. There are a few different fuel resources in order for you to put in your multi-tool for specific means. So, for your mining beam, that'll be... Go back. Your mining beam, that'll be carbon, condensed carbon, and phosphorus. For your terrain manipulator, which I'll talk about later on, that you're going to get, that helps us dig through the ground for minerals and whatnot. That's going to take... What is that thing called? I think it takes ferrite dust, but it also takes silicate. Silicate glass? I'm having a little bit of trouble remembering. But once we collect that from the ground, that'll be your infinite resource to go ahead and keep going with your terrain manipulator. So that way you'll never really run out unless you're not really digging. Go ahead. And this. We're not going to really reach our goal of 1,000 here in a bit. We're going to keep pushing the storyline a bit. Alright, 381. I at least want to get 500 so that way I'm a little secure. Ooh. Oh, that's a little... Hold on. So, this will depend on what planet you're on. I kind of wanted to leave this out of the walkthrough, but if you'll notice... I'm going to go ahead and get my hazard protection. I want to use the life support gel yet. Ooh, it's buildable technology, which we also need to talk about. Alright, going to wait for that to rise for a little bit. So if you notice the little Wi-Fi signal that was kind of yellowed out in the distance, those are ancient burial sites in which you'll get ancient bones. Ancient bones is actually going to give you a lot of money once you collect a few. You'll be able to sell that at a space station, and they'll give you units for it. So with your scanner, you're going to look for that natural burial site. Now, if you notice that, you'll notice on the right side, it'll say available resources, ancient bones, fungal mold, copper, ammonia, and salt. Those are all the available resources that we can take from the planet in order to get specific resources that we need. Natural burial sites and ancient bones, you'll need to look for that on the planet in order for you to go ahead and get that money gain. If you do not have it there, don't worry about it. We're going to find other ways for you to collect money. Let's go ahead and focus on ship repair. We have enough? I don't think we have enough. Hermetic seal. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and make that. And then the hydrogen jelly. You can go ahead and transfer items if you're close enough to your ship, because there is a distance before that disconnect happens where you can't transfer things to your starship anymore. Go ahead and use the quick transfer menu. Use the quick transfer, which is X on mouse and keyboard. And then transfer it over to your starship, and it'll appear right there. So for the pulse engine, we need that hermetic seal. I'm like, is that blueprint already there? I don't think it is. Hold on. On the fritz. No, it is not there yet. We need to pick it up. But for our other thing, which is the launch thruster here, because we have 341 of ferrite dust, we can go ahead and take care of that with our portable refiner and let this run while we're doing something else. Go ahead and put your ferrite dust in, and it'll be a 1-to-1 ratio for this ferrite dust, all 341 of it, to become pure ferrite. Now, you notice it has no fuel. This is where our carbon comes into play. And we can make as much as we want out of it. We can go ahead and let that run. We need about 50 of it, so we can have 50 for now. It's already past that point, so we'll have 15 left. And then collect this. Get our carbon back. You'll notice that we're ready to go ahead and have our launch thruster repaired. Now we're going to go ahead and work on our pulse engine, which is hermetic seal, which we're going to get from this thing over here. Don't be alarmed if you've already gone over it and touched it. This is going to get us further into the storyline to let us know that the hermetic seal is placed at a specific spot that we're going to have to get later on. Starship restoration sequence initialized. Attach metal plating. So it wants us to do this first before we do anything else. It wants us to go ahead and put the metal plating in. And part of it's repaired, not all of it. So now when we have to hop back in the ship to run the diagnostics, go through this part of the storyline. And there's our pulse engine requires hermetic seal. We're going to request assistance. It detects it nearby. Planetary chart is given to us after we hop out of the ship. There we go. Pulse engine critically damaged. We're going to come back over here and get what we need, which is the planetary map. That planetary map is going to show us where we need to go. There it is, planetary chart. Awesome, awesome. I think we did get it. We can go ahead and plot the route. You do that by using E. Or whichever input you have, depending on what console you're on. Now, that doesn't look too far away. But usually it's kind of far sometimes. This is why we needed our hazard protection and life support, because we are on the clock for a storm that's coming up here in a bit. You're asking me, how do I know there's a storm coming? Usually this happens when you're on your way, then a storm hits, and you should be able to find a cave nearby that will protect you from that hazard. But because we were kind of stocked up already, it won't be too bad, but just make sure you find that cave so that way you're not using all of your hazard protection and all of your life support. And on the way, start grabbing resources. Just collect the ones you need. Don't collect everything since your inventory is pretty limited. We do want that. We want those P's so we can have that 5% hazard protection. Every 5%, and there's our storm right there. Be sure to collect the resources and probably get to the destination kind of quickly. There's some carbon over there, but excuse me. Just keep running. If you don't see a cave nearby, just keep going. Talk about damaged machinery, which is over there in a bit. Sometimes you get upgrades from those. Sometimes it's just nanites. Be careful with hazardous flora as well. They usually strike in the places where you don't see them, and sometimes it hurts. Now, when you are in storms, you'll notice that it takes triple the amount away from my hazard protection. You want to make sure you find shelter, or just use hazard protection in order for you to get that thing tip-top before it runs out. You notice the screen goes a little foggy depending on where you're at. If you're in a freezing planet, then it's going to be cold and icy. If you're in a hot planet, then it's like really red and hot. In your helmet, then keep doing the same thing. Using your, I'm sorry, don't keep using it. Find shelter is what I wanted to say. Cover supplies. We got the hermetic seal. Now, before you think, oh, I need to build it, you don't. You don't necessarily need to build it. It's right here. You already have it within your inventory. So now that that's done, we got to make our trek on the way back. You can sit here and hang out in the building if you like. The computer will let you know in your suit that the storm has passed. You don't mind sitting there, but we want to go ahead and move on. We're going to hop in here. See what other goodies are being hidden away. There's some carbon here. Be sure to take all of it. And you'll notice it's all gone because the icon isn't there anymore, or the prompt isn't there to let us know. Okay, cool. We've taken all of that. There's some nanites within these encrypted navigation data. Go ahead and pick that up. It'll spin. Actually, it's navigation data. I'm sorry. When you do see these cubes and everything back in the past, they used to hold nanites, and these are usually hold navigation data. These are what hold what? Units. Sometimes it's nanites when it has like a little pod with like a little animal in it, or you get navigation data, or you get units from these. Good thing we hopped in on the other side. I think I missed something over here. Oh, we already got it. That's right. It was instinctual to go for me to grab it. Now the storm is cleared. We can go ahead and leave. We can use the analysis visor to locate our starship, which happens to be right there. Now, I talked about highlighting locations earlier. Go ahead and it'll tell you hold your input button to tag. So you'll, on this mouse and keyboard, you'll hold E. Makes a nice little circle. And it doesn't matter if your visor is on or off. You can see where you need to go. That'll be the only icon up. Versus if I was going to use it to highlight the buried technology module or to highlight the ammonia deposit over there, then I would go ahead and do that. Notice our life support's a little low, but we'll make it all the way over there as long as we don't waste too much time. Careful. Now over there is a knowledge stone. Since we're passing one right about now, we can talk about standing. So we'll have standing with specific factions in No Man's Sky. We'll get more into it when we get to the space station. Ooh, this one happens to be Korvax. It's not going to make sense when it goes ahead and tells you specific things, but it will get better the more knowledge you have of the language. You're going to want these for missions later on when you need to make money before you can start selling things. You can usually find these by looking at the... well, actually, those are done. Oh, no, it's right there. By looking at the knowledge stone icons when you see that in the distance. I don't think there's another one nearby. You can go ahead and start scanning animals too, as well as minerals, the flora and fauna. Just to go ahead and get you a little bit of money. And look at our damaged machinery here. Sometimes this will give you rusted metal, which is good because we need to refine that into ferrite dust. And then sometimes it'll give you nanites. Sometimes it'll give you Starship launch fuel, or maybe an upgrade. It all depends on the RNG of it all. Got a lot of ferrite dust here. We still have enough in our life support and hazard protection. Go ahead and collect. We'll make sure we have enough resources for later on when we do need to build. We only have 300. Be sure to reach that 1,000. Trust me, if you don't have that 1,000, you'll have to go out and go get some more materials later on, and it's just a little bit more time, unfortunately. So watch out for that. Burning right through these things. Usually the experimental multi-tools, which are these. This will also be a part of the series, that I'll further explain. These are really good miners and scanners. Versus their combat counterparts, which are the alien multi-tools. Okay, cool. I think that should get us to where we need to go. Oh, we hit that 500 mark, plus the rest of the metal we're going to refine later. Let's get back to the ship. So just to give an example for life support. So, where's that food at? Okay, life support power. Since we have 11, think about it in terms of percentage. So if we get about 10 of this, let's see. 3, 4, 5. That should be 25% of where it was at before. Now, if we eat the rest of it, I believe it was at 11. So when it's had at 55% all the way up in terms of life support protection. So if push comes to shove, make sure you have that food ready. Got some sweet root as well. Sweet root, on the other hand, it's our 10% hazard protection. So keep an eye out for sweet root and those peas, depending on whether or not they're actually here with you in the planet. If not, you'll probably find an equivalent. There's some more oxygen there. Didn't even have to be close by. Making it towards the ship, still picking up supplies along the way. Now, if you do get those little blue flowers, they give you a little bit of a boost for your jetpack. Make sure you use it wisely because they do not last long. Hey, another knowledge stone. Go ahead and pick that up. think that's my cat in the background, meowing because she's lonely. Oh, we forgot to pick up all the supplies and everything over here. All right, go ahead and pick this up. This is also rusted metal. Go ahead and pick that up for condensed carbon. Go ahead and pick this up. After we're done picking that up, we can't pick this up yet because we don't have the Atlas pass. That's later on down the line. Oh my god, she's pretty loud. Cool. Put that residual goop within our ship. You can refine that so many times until it becomes runaway mold. That runaway mold then becomes nanites, and we'll talk more about that later on in the series. We did get an upgrade from the damaged machinery. If we get, I can get rid of this. I don't need it right now. So we got a photon cannon module for our Starship. Actually, that is a pretty good find. We'll just add it to that, and again, the adjacency bonus will give us a little bit of a boost. So you notice the damage potential went up. If I can go ahead and remove the technology, you can store it by pressing X. Moving it down here, you notice our damage potential is up a little bit because this is a fighter. Rather than its base right here, you got a little bit more. The weapon we're using, which is 1,700 S. Then we go ahead and install this right next to it. Goes up a little bit because of its class and how much it's going to offer in terms of heat dispersion and fire rate. This gives us a little bit of gains for when we... Now going ahead and repairing that. Because I have a hermetic seal. Now the ship is ready to go and repaired. Well, we can launch systems online. Now we have 50% of everything, but the other item we're going to need is Starship launch fuel. Now to hydrogen, on the other hand, we're at 176. What do we need again?
Toxic protection falling.
Okay, 1 metal plating per. So we're going to have about 3. Oh, I need 3 metal plating. Okay, cool. We got that. And then Starship launch fuel. Done. So we're going to put that into, here. So we can at least launch. And then this, on the other hand, is going to need tritium, which we can talk about later. But the ship is fully repaired. Next episode, we're going to be hopping out of this system into space, going through most of the storyline again, and getting you ready for traveling amongst the stars. Go beyond, traveler.